Hey guys, it's me. I just want to make a quick video for you guys to see what is on the contract. I just sent it over. It's pretty long and there's a lot of kind of in-depth language that might be kind of hard to understand. So I want to make this video for you to go through each page and make sure that I give my own interpretation of what things mean, and maybe I can make things a little bit clearer for you. Now make sure you know that you can still ask me questions anytime or give me a call. I just thought this might be helpful to get started. Okay, so this first page is basically a table of contents, right? We're going to move on past that. This right here is the disclosure regarding agency relationship. What this first page means is that I am representing you as your agent, and I have authorization to negotiate on your behalf and to do all the things that a real estate agent does. We're going to have you sign this thing here and here automatically, which will be really easy. It's going to happen inside of the program, so no worries there with regards to printing or anything. It's going to be online, very easy. This next page basically just says what being an agent means. More or less it says I will not give any information about you. I will keep privacy as a priority, things like that. Okay. That I have what's called a fiduciary duty to you to basically keep everything of yours at the highest regard and make sure you get the best deal possible. Okay, so this document doesn't necessarily apply to you, but it's necessary anyways, which means that there may be multiple buyers or sellers in a given market that are looking for this property. It lets you know that some agents will represent the buyer and the seller. Now, we're not in a situation like that, but you have to be aware that that is something that some real estate agents do. So I'm not representing anybody but you guys, but this form says that there are people who do that, so please sign here and acknowledge that this was sent here and that you understand this is what some people do. Again, we don't. We just represent you guys, make sure you guys get the best deal, nobody else. Okay. There's another table of contents here. I'm going to skip on past that. This is the beginning of the contract. This is the purchase agreement. Everything on this document is very important, so I'm going to go through it line by line and try to make it really easy and streamlined. So this first page gets information about the offer, which is the price, the area, address. Agency, which is who the broker is. Me, I'm the owner of my own company, so Todd Holland's broker, and I'm also representing you, so, and only you. I'm not representing anybody else. Financing terms. This says that you'll give escrow $24,300 now. This is the loan amount that you'll be taking out, which is $690,000. And this is the remainder of your down payment, which is $95,700, so just about $96,000. Okay, so all that together makes up the $810,000 that we are offering for the property. Okay, now page 2. This part is pretty important for me, for what I do, because it dictates my deadlines and how fast I have to work for certain things to get them done. Now, this first one here says that I will verify the down payment and closing costs. So what I'm going to do here, and just letting you know, I'm going to just read through what each one of these things mean. If you have more questions, just feel free to ask. But right here, this says that within 3 days, I'm going to get your pre-approval letter to the agent. In fact, I'm going to get it done the same day, so it's not going to take me 3 days. This is the appraisal contingency. So there's a certain time frame that the appraiser can get out to the property and check it out. And we're saying that we'll get this done within 12 days. I'm confident that we'll be able to do that. Loan application and loan contingency, we're going to submit both of those. Again, that's with your pre-approval. All of that's done. We did that already. Loan contingency removal. What I'm saying is that within 17 days, I'm going to be able to remove the loan contingency and basically say that, hey, at this point, we're sure it's good to go, good to move forward. Okay, so that's within 17 days. Normally it's 21 days. I'm confident I can get that done in 17. There's no lender limit to buyer. Number 5 doesn't really matter right here, because that just says that you're going to be getting back a certain amount of money toward your closing costs, a few $1,000s. Buyer stated financing. Neither of these apply because we have an actual lender with an actual approval. So you're not stating it. It's actually good to go. No problem there. You're not selling your current property, so number 4. So it's not contingent upon sale of your current property. Here's the thing. So allocation of costs in Alameda County and most parts of the East Bay, the buyer and seller both pay for the escrow and title fees. Now, there's no real way to change that. That's just simply the way things are done in those counties, and each county is a little bit different. However, I'm going to push for the seller to be in charge of any retrofitting, carbon monoxide detectors, water heater bracing, any compliance, and take care of any city and county transfer tax so that you don't have to pay tax on the purchase. I'm going to try to push for the sellers to pay tax on that purchase, save you some money on that side as well. By convention, so standard in East Bay is that buyer and seller split the HOA transfer fees and documentation fees. Now, it's usually not a lot of money, only a couple $100s, and we give you enough money back as the lender to make sure you are able to cover that, so you don't have to worry about paying that. And this part right here is saying that buyer will pay a home warranty fee. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy you guys a home warranty as a closing gift, which basically means that anything in your house breaks, you call this company and they'll come and fix it for like $70 as opposed to hundreds of dollars. It's a really great deal, and I'm just happy to be able to do that for you guys. Okay. Now, as we go on further here, you're saying that we want the whole kitchen, all stoves, all washing machines, things like that to stay in the house. If you want to put in your own, that's good too, but I'd like to push for these to stay there so you have something to use as soon as you move in. Okay, so closing and possession. Basically, this property will be given to you at 6 p.m. on the 30th day of escrow or sooner. That's what we're hoping for. That's the goal we're trying to achieve, and I think that we're going to be able to get there much sooner than that because we have so much work done already that we will just be in a great position. Now, this is statutory disclosures. I'm going to send you, after we get accepted here, and only when we get accepted, a list of all the disclosures that the seller has given to the listing agent to tell us what the quality of the property is. So if there's anything wrong with the property, we're going to get what's called disclosure or some paperwork that tells us that. I'm going to go through those disclosures and I'm going to make a list of everything that I find either outstanding out or very good or anything that's important, so you don't have to go through that yourself unless you want to. Okay, now this part says the natural and environmental hazard disclosure, withholding tax, this database disclosure. Each one of these says basically the same thing, that I will furnish you with a copy of this disclosure given to me by the seller. And that's going to give you all the information that you need on the property. Okay? This chapter right here says that the property is sold as is unless you suggest otherwise. So if there's a repair that wants to be made, this is where it needs to be made. Since there's no repairs, it's just as it is in its present condition. The seller will give you all the facts, everything we need to know, so it's going to be very easy and smooth there. And what I strongly recommend, I'm going to put this in the email as well, is that you get a home inspector. To take a look at the property within the first 10 days. So as soon as we get accepted, I have a great home inspector out there. I'll have him meet you out there on the 2nd or 3rd day, or not even meet you at all if you don't necessarily want to be there, but I think you should be there. And then get all of the inspections done, ready to go, and then give you a very clear idea of if there's any pests or there's any structural damage or water damage. That'll be an expert and very quick way of finding it out. Now, all of this rest of the stuff here is basically the rights that you have to investigate the property, which basically means that you need to have consent of the person there, which I'm going to take care of all of this for you, making sure that's all accurate. You feel free to read through it. If you have any questions, let me know. But basically, this is my responsibility here, is getting you on the right timeline to get everything done quickly and done right. Both are very important in this particular situation. Title investing, this basically says that you and Ali will be taking title of the property together. You'll also be taking the mortgage together, so that's just letting everyone know that that's what the situation is. This time period contingency, this is very important. I think this is the most important part because, again, this is my time frame. This tells me what I need to do and on what day. So within 7 days, the seller has to get me all the reports, all the disclosures, and everything. We're going to get that today. I already spoke with the seller, so that's good. We're already going to get that. Now, on B, buyer has 10 days after acceptance, unless agreed in writing, to complete all buyer investigations, complete all disclosures, and reports. Now, the reason I said 10 instead of 17 is 2 reasons. Number one, I'm very confident we can get all the information we need within 7 days. That gives you an extra 3 days. And number two, the less extra time we take on these things that we don't need, the easier it is to get this offer accepted and to get you guys into that property on time and for the budget that you guys are hoping for, okay? So that's what that means right there, this B1. When you come across it, B1, the 17 or 10 days, that's how long you have to get all the inspections done. Again, we're going to be done with this within a week. It's not even going to take us 7 days. So the seller right to cancel, you know, as with anything, the seller has some very small time frame to cancel, and this gives you the exact reasons why they cancel. But basically, we are giving everything the right way, so the seller will have no reason to cancel. So this isn't anything we really need to worry about, but it's important to have that be in the contract as well to remember it. Notice to buyer or seller to perform. If anyone doesn't do their job, this basically says that the buyer or seller will have the right to say, hey, do what we asked, you know, what you said you would do in the contract, or we're going to back out of this deal. Both parties have the right to do that if the other party doesn't perform. Closing of escrow ties back into the 30-day, and this is a time frame on when things have to be delivered before close of escrow. Again, this is my job, not your job. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. That's the beauty of this. The only thing that you guys have to worry about are getting the things in that the lender asks for. This, as far as the real estate transaction goes, I'll take care of everything. Not to worry whatsoever. Final verification of conditions. So 5 days or sooner before we get out of contract, before we sign all the final documents, you have one more pass through to make sure that that the property is in the same condition that it was when you looked at it. If repairs need to be done, then we can negotiate them at that time as well. Proration of property taxes, depending on when you close the property, when you close escrow, you're going to be responsible for some of the property taxes for the rest of the month. That's just the way that it works. So that's going to be a few $100s at closing, and we'll give you an itemized list of all of this. Now, broker's compensation, this basically says that the seller agrees to pay my compensation. You don't have to pay me for anything. I want to make that very clear. You knew that already, but that's what this passage says. My commission is paid by the seller and the seller's agent, and this says that what my scope of duty is, what I'm what I am and am not able to do, right? Kind of thing. For example, I can't give legal advice. I can't speak on behalf of the seller. I have to talk to the seller's agent about that. Things like that. I can't do an inspection for you. Actual inspector has to do that. That kind of thing. What I can do is I can give you real estate advice. I can give you market advice, and I can get you into contract, do everything I've been doing. Now, this joint instructions to escrow holder, these are the instructions for the person, the escrow. You don't have to worry about these, but all of this is for their eyes. You're welcome to read through it, but this part right here, 20, doesn't apply to you. 21 basically says, and this is very important, and I know that we have no intention of not getting this thing closed the way that we want it to, but I just want it to be known that we have to do things according to this schedule, or that 3% of the purchase price may be taken away, right? So that 3% that you put into escrow in the beginning, that $24,300, that basically is your deposit on the property. So if, for example, you decide after everything, like maybe 2 days before the transaction is done, oh, I don't want the property, or if something happens, if anything from our fault that the transaction falls through after those contingency dates, so we talked about the 10 days, the 17 days, remember, if anything happens, you'll lose that deposit. Now, that's why we have to make sure we work really hard, and I'm going to have to make sure I keep track of all the deadlines like I always do, and make sure this thing closes. You have nothing to worry about. It's nothing to fear. It's just a part of the contract. Every contract is like this, and we're going to make sure we operate well inside those deadlines and in a very stress-free way. So don't worry about that whatsoever, I promise. Dispute resolution, mediation, arbitration of disputes. Basically, this is saying that if you are mad at the seller, you have the right to sue the seller under certain guidelines. We're not going to be in a situation where we need to do this, but this contract says this part. You can either choose to take it to court, or you can choose to take it to a private arbitrator and have it not be like a legal matter. It's up to you. We're not going to get there anyways. These are all just precautions. This goes through a couple things. So multiple listing service, I'm going to, we're going to report this to listing services for the seller, like seller responsibilities to do this thing. Equal housing opportunity, we're in compliance with all those anti-discrimination laws. Terms and conditions of this offer, time of essence. This part is mainly boilerplate, and if you have any questions about this, let me know, but it's very redundant, and it doesn't really apply to our performance here as what we need to do. This right here, the expiration of offer date, this is going to change. This isn't the actual one. None of this is. But, I'm going to give an updated one before we send it out. But that's basically when this thing expires. We're going to have to expire on Friday. If we don't hear back with a definitive yes or no or counter offer by Friday, then we're going to walk. Right? That's what we're thinking here. And this part all goes to, the office, the paperwork kind of a thing. And this is the buyer's inspection advisory, which goes into more detail. All it really says is it's very important to do an inspection. I've got a great inspector. He's waiting for the call. And as soon as we realize that we are ready to move forward and that the property is yours and that you're, in contract, then I'm going to send him right out there. And he's going to give you a very detailed report within 48 hours. And you'll be able to know clearly whether this thing is right for you and whether it is, in great condition. Okay, I've talked for exactly 17 minutes so far. I know this is a long video. If you've made it this far, I applaud you. I know it's, a lot of information. Feel free to read through this at your own pace. There's no reason to rush or anything like that. When you're ready and you're willing to sign, tell me, and I'm going to send it over with the signatures there. Let's see about doing it tomorrow, because I said I'd get it over to her tomorrow. And we will hear back very soon, hopefully, and we'll move forward from there. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching this. I'm really excited to work with you and get you into this house, and it looks very, very good so far. So, all right, take care. Bye-bye.